This is Steampunk Stories at AmberStreet.com, and I'm here with the legendary artist Bob Layton, formerly Marvel Comics, and famous for doing the Tony Stark Alcoholic series,
among other things.
Among other things. Is this your first Long Beach comic?
Oh no, I've been here. I'm a California resident.
Oh, okay.
So, I did last September's show. I did the show about 4 or 5 years ago. I mean, when they first started, and it wasn't very good, so I didn't go for a while. And then they invited me back. They were nice enough to invite me back, and they have obviously corrected the problems they had early on with the show. And it's been a fabulous show to come to. And I can drive here, so it's like not like I have to take the whole weekend off and everything like that. So it's been really good. And I remember Long Beach. I had friends here like in the '80s when this was all like a demilitarized zone, and now it's like a very beautiful, urban setting here. So it's like, yeah, it's fun to come here. I enjoy it.
Oh, very cool, very cool. So you don't work with Marvel Comics anymore?
No. I mean, I did my time, as everyone said. You
did your time. Okay.
I did my time. Yeah. I mean, I was on contract with them for about 15 years.
Okay.
And that's when I did all the classic Iron Man stuff. And then I left them to start Valiant Comics in the late 80s, early 90s. And, we went on there to become like the third largest publisher in America. So they're still around to this day, as a matter of fact. Although I sold my interest and got out in the late 90s.
Oh, you did? I did not know that.
But
okay.
The company's still around.
Yeah.
So... yeah, I've gone back. I've done a few things now and then, and like I said, I helped promote the first 2 Iron Man films and stuff with Marvel Studios,
okay.
But since then, I'm kind of working in Hollywood more, like screenwriter, script doctor, designer, that sort of thing.
Oh, so you do screenwriting now?
Yeah. Oh, yeah. I work with Almost Productions, Edward James Olmos and his sons. I worked for various stars in Hollywood. I worked with Dane Cook, a few others. It's like on various projects. So that's kind of how I keep myself busy these days.
Okay, so do you do any comics today now that you've left Marvel? No. That's too bad.
It's not the same business as it was back then. All right.
Yeah.
Not to say that I wouldn't, but you're talking to a guy who's done everything to put the staples in the books. Okay.
Okay.
I've owned 2 comic book companies. I've I've written, drawn, inked, colored, lettered, edited. I mean, I've done almost every character in the Marvel universe. I've done a lot of the DC characters. They're just like, for me, I was always looking for a challenge artistically, and I've never saw my characters talk or move. So it seemed to me like the next step was animation, Hollywood, live action, that sort of thing. So I came out here about 7 years ago to kind of like make my mark. So I got a movie called Shambler it's in pre-production right now. It's kind of a modern day comedy horror film.
I'll have to look that up.
Yeah, it's like we're hoping to get it rolling by summer, but it's one of those things where it takes forever to get something done out here. So I balance that out. Plus, I love traveling, so I do a lot of conventions. I travel around all over the world. I'm going to Australia and Spain and England
impressive.
This year. They have cons everywhere now.
So how was it like working with Stan Lee?
Oh, nobody works with Stan Lee. I didn't work with him.
You didn't work with him, even when you were with Marvel Comics?
Nobody did. Stan never really worked up in the offices. And by the time I started, which was like the mid-'70s,
yeah.
Stan was already out here in Hollywood.
Oh, gotcha.
Yeah, he had an office up there, but he wasn't ever in it.
Interesting.
Yeah, no, when people talk about working with Stan Lee, it's the fact that he created the initial Iron Man concept, but it never really took off, he never actually wrote an issue. It was his brother, Larry Lieber, that wrote the original Tales of Suspense Iron Man.
Oh, okay.
Unfortunately, Iron Man turned out to be that redheaded stepchild that people just did because it was there. Nobody really kind of loved it.
Yeah.
I was the first person that came in and actually loved it.
Yeah, it really took off after you.
Well, because I changed everything,
Yeah.
Basically, I turned it into what I always thought as a kid it should have been,
So that's why you're credited as co-creator.
Yeah, because I created the rock star Tony Stark and the cool armor. I was the first guy to make it look like metal. To make it look like it was actually a shell over top of a guy. They used to draw him with costumes like folds in it.
He even had a nose at one time.
Yeah, but he had the cuffs on the boots moved. You know, they swayed like Buccaneer cuffs or something, you know? I mean, it used to drive me nuts as a kid because I was a big King Arthur freak, right?
Yeah.
I love Knights of the Round Table. And it never looked like armor. And it drives me nuts. So, yeah, and we added Rhodey. You know, we gave him, you know, Rhodey and created the cast of characters you know from the films. You know? So the rest is history. So I'm more the recreator of Iron Man.
Fair enough. But and so you helped promote the first 2 films, but not the third.
No, I had left Marvel mostly because of the merchandising situation. Because they, you know, there's like, I mean, just tens of thousands of pieces of merchandise out there with my art on it, which I get no money for.
Oh, that sucks.
Yeah, it totally sucks, dude. Because I could retire like a king just on the royalties from merchandising. Because you've seen my Iron Man art on
That's what made
everything.
George Lucas. George Lucas originally didn't have the rights to Star Wars, and he only had the rights to the merchandising, and he later bought it back.
It's not that I bear Marvel any ill will, but, you know, I'm not going to add to my own exploitation by creating more stuff for them to exploit. You know?
I got you. And what did you think of Iron Man 3? Did you see it?
You can go to my website and read actually, after I quit Marvel, I wrote a review of all 3 movies.
Oh, okay. I was not happy with Iron Man 3.
Go to BobLayton.com.
Okay.
Did you like the way I slipped that plug in there?
I don't mind you plugging.
It's
all about you.
Go to BobLayton.com and look at my blog. And one of my blogs from last year, you'll see where Bob reviews the Iron Man films. Let's put it this way. Iron Man 3 almost got me thrown off a plane.
Really?
Well, because I started freaking out in my seat about 20 minutes into the movie, yelling at the screen until the flight attendant came up and asked me if I was all right.
I didn't like what they did with the Mandarin. I didn't like integration of Iron Patriot and War Machine.
The whole movie was ghastly.
Yeah, it was horrible. It was horrible.
That's what happens when you get somebody who doesn't understand the comic genre writing a comic movie.
Yeah, I agree.
You get that kind of thing. Because
they should have had you.
We love... Comics are like opera. And just like opera, we go to the opera, we want it in Italian, we want it in the costumes, and we want it on a stage. We don't want it in street clothes in English in a back alley somewhere.
Yeah.
And that's what Iron Man 3 was, you know?
I got you. Well, thank you very much for your time, sir. And I have your permission to use this on AberStreet.com.
Why not? Just don't edit me up real weird or anything.
This is Steampunk Star Raise at AberStreet.com. You have a nice day, and I will see you 25 billion years. I will.